like it. You're watching Channel 22, Lawndale's community cable television for the South Bay.
All right, fans, good evening and welcome to another exciting Channel 22 sports presentation. I'm Rufus Washington, joined by Dave Marks. We're at Hawthorne High School in the Cougar Den for what promises to be an exciting game. If you need to make a bathroom stop, now's the time to go, Dave, before you get started, as the Leuzinger Olympians travel across town to take on their arch rival, the Hawthorne Cougars. Records really matter little. The arena is absolutely packed tonight, standing room only. There's electricity in the air.
Well, good evening, Rufus. Nice to be with you for a second week of action in the new millennium. And you mentioned this is the Cougars' den for the Cougars. It's a den of iniquity, though. They're 0-4. They have yet to win in the conference this season. The losing Olympians have had a better go at it. They're 3-1, and they've had a much better successful overall record. They're 10-5 overall. So it's been more of a balanced attack for the losing Olympians so far. But for Hawthorne, they have yet to get in the win column in the conference. And talking to Coach Joe House before the ball game, Coach House feels that it's been their defense that has let them down in the latter stages of ball games. He doesn't know if it's a stamina thing, if they're just not conditioned right, but their defense has let them down. But I think the point you made, Rufus, about the fact that this is a rivalry. It is a natural rivalry. So you kind of have to throw that 0-4 record out, and you can look for a little electricity in the crowd and from the Hawthorne Cougars and the losing Olympians tonight.
Oh, of course, because obviously, chance to give a shout out to Coach Norman, as always, and we'll get him in here in just a few minutes to help us put a frame around tonight's contest. Of course, Adan Baynes alone for the Hawthorne Cougars brings his own excitement to the contest. Might as well also, before we get underway here, give a shout out to the Leuzinger junior varsity team, which in the last 2 minutes of their contest pulled away from the Hawthorne Cougars to win by a score of 57-48. And that kind of set the tone and certainly got the Hawthorne crowd just a little bit more hostile with their JV team losing. So their varsity is going to be seeking to exact a measure of revenge. And of course, they love nothing more than to knock the Olympians off of their 3-1 perch right now.
Well, adrenaline can get you but so far. You're going to have the skill to pull it through. And we saw Hawthorne last week losing to Mira Costa, a ball game where Adan Baynes, of course, was an offensive star. But we mentioned he's got to be able to get the rest of his team into the package. So we'll see if he's able to do that here tonight.
And we got Foster going against O'Bailey on the opening tip, which Hawthorne controls. Adan Baynes stops and pops from three-point range. And he gets off to the good quick start, which is in contrast to when we saw him last week. Took him a little while to get warmed up. Early flag here. Still got football on him, that early whistle here.
Well, I think it's one of those clock miscues again. There you see Travis Showalter, the Leuzinger head coach. He mentioned before the ball game that when Adan Baynes comes out and hits those shots, there's nothing much you can do. Joe House on your picture there right now. Joe House, the man who a little concerned before the ball game with his team being 0-4. He knows that they do have some offensive power, but they have got to play a full, solid basketball game of defense and not wilt toward the end. And the reason why they did stop the clock, Rufus, is because it had been down to 23 seconds. They had never reset it.
Leuzinger's first shot from the perimeter, no good. Hawthorne running, they get the fast break. They blow the layup off the fast break. Leuzinger comes back the other way. Goes to the paint, puts it up and in. That's Chaz Foster with the basket.
Chaz Foster, for those of you who follow football on Channel 22, you know what he did during the football season, coming on the second half of the year to play quarterback. He's a two-letterman. And in talking about Chaz Foster, he was on this Leuzinger squad last year that suffered the ignominy of having to forfeit most of its games due to ineligible players and that controversy. And he, more than anyone else, wants this year to be a good, strong makeup year.
Baynes from the outside shot, no good. Rebound taken down to get it ahead. Leuzinger goes inside, shot blocked by the big man for Hawthorne. Play just a little bit ragged. Hawthorne pushes it up. Now they go to the basket. Shot put up by number 25, Rodney Williams, fouled on the play. He'll go to the line to shoot two. Right now it's the early going. We got 7 minutes left in the first quarter here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 with The Cougars of Hawthorne, courtesy of Adan Baynes, three-pointer, leading by a score of 3-2. Looking to stretch that on Rodney Williams' free throws.
Yeah, and it's good to see Rodney Williams take it to the bucket. He, of course, a very capable scorer, but was not given much of an opportunity to get many touches last week. And we've seen a couple of attempts for him here tonight. As for the Leuzinger Olympians, Tyrone Reed comes into the ballgame along with Brandon Connor. Both of those players saw a lot of action last year. They are both seniors. Did not start tonight, but 57 seconds into it, they're off the bench and in the ballgame. So you can call them de facto starters, if you will.
And he misses 2 free throws. Leuzinger comes down with the rebound. That's Foster with the rebound. Again, they swing it down the corner. Little man goes to the basket, pops it back out. Little man for them is Ortega, number 3.
Oscar Ortega, the guard, standing at 5'8". He's a senior. And as you can see, he's got the ability to penetrate. He'll get himself a trip to that free throw line.
Let's set the Leuzinger lineup where you got Ortega, number 3. Reed wearing jersey 4. Connor in jersey 5. Foster, of course, with 23 on. And wearing jersey number 25 is Dixon.
And there's nothing wrong with your camera, ladies and gentlemen. It's shaking because of the fact that the people on these benches that we're sitting on are banging their feet on them. So we're not having an earthquake.
This is about as big a crowd as you can get in here, and that's good to see. And what we want to see is a nice, clean contest, and so far everything is going according to form. Baynes brings it up. Baynes beats the press by himself. Baynes with his signature high dribble may get a carrying call at the upper levels after high school's over with. That shot put up no good. Rebound taken down again by Foster. Foster being a demon on the board so far. Ortega's shot from the outside. It's good. Leuzinger now leads by a score. Let's see if they give him a deuce or a tray. They give him a tray on it. Makes it 7-3. Hawthorne turnover.
Yeah, the big 0-0 with the range.
And Dixon goes to the basket, uncontested. Score now 9-3. And Coach House has got to be thinking about a timeout. Leuzinger's not a team, Dave, that you want to get too far away from you.
No, they've got a couple of
blowing
weapons.
Inside shots here. And I guess if you get 6 shots, you're bound to make one of them, and that basket makes it a 9-5 ball game now.
Marcus McNeil, the junior, with a bucket. That comes at the 5:35 mark of the first quarter.
Leuzinger brings it back out top. That was Connor with the handle. And you're going to have a travel call. Good call there on Dixon. Gives me a chance to mention our officials for tonight's contest are the referee is Enrique Arroyo, and the other official is Kevin Coleman. Should also mention, as we later found out last week, one of the prime sponsors of Cougar basketball this year is the Warehouse Shoe Company over on Hawthorne Boulevard at 120th. That basket good from the perimeter by Baynes.
I wonder if they warehouse any Chuck Taylor Converse All-Stars.
Well, it looks like they've got a pretty decent sponsorship deal. Let's see, I think we're going to have a foul call here against the Cougars. Call goes against number 5 for the Cougars, and that's Terrence Ford. That also gives me a chance to mention, to clarify an erroneous statement we made from last week, and I'll get to that in just a second. First free throw, no good. Reed misses 2 at the line. Cougars come down with the rebound. It's Marcus McNeil, as Dave pointed out. Number 5 is Ford, and now we got a whistle out top. And that whistle's gonna go against the Cougars out of the offensive set. Right now they trail by a score of 9-8 here with 4:58 left in the first quarter, Dave.
Yes, and it's been an interesting battle so far. A little adrenaline by both teams. And a simple 1-point ball game. Right now, I think they're having a few problems with that 35-second clock again over on the other side. But on this defensive stand, Hawthorne going into the 1-2-2. And Coach House said they will employ that when necessary. His defense has been a problem so far, last couple of ball games at least.
Leuzinger works the sidelines. Now they bring it out top. They go back to the sideline. Ortega gets inside, dishes it off. Once again, they blow the inside shot. There's a ball shot put up off the glass, no good. And they're going to call Chaz Foster for going over the top on that.
So Foster picking up the foul. And it goes back the other way, losing a little bit of a full court trap. But Adan Baynes will break it.
Baynes from distance puts it up, hits the front of the rim. They get a lucky putback there by number 22. And that's Marcus McNeil. And I say lucky, not that he couldn't make the shot. 2-on-1 here. Baynes takes it all the way himself against Chaz Foster, who plays a little softly, not wanting to pick up a second foul this early in the contest.
The 3-on-1, they had numbers and took advantage. Now they've got the 3-point lead.
Another foul called on that shot, which was put up by Connor.
And I don't know, looks like they might have fouled him on a 3-point attempt. Look of concern on the face of Joe House.
And as you can see right now, a score. Hawthorne having reclaimed the lead after trailing early by 9-3. Nice little run here by Hawthorne to go on a 9-zip run. And Connor breaks that run with the free throw to make our score now 12-10 with the second attempt coming up.
And interestingly enough, the run came when they went into that 1-2-2 zone. And yes, this is a 3-point attempt because he was fouled on the 3-point shot attempt. So he gets 3 free throws. How about that?
Number of substitutes coming on the floor. 3 come on for Leuzinger and 2 come on for the Cougars. When we have the opportunity, we'll get all that squared away for you fans. So we've got a tie ball game as Connor goes to the line, makes 3, then steals across the court pass, blows the layup, however. They switch. And one of the other things, Dave, we'll talk about first opportunity we get. Of course, we're used to Coach Charles Wright prowling the sideline for the Cougars. Excuse me, for the Cougars. God forgive me, please, for the Olympians. And, of course, new head coach on the basketball team. Going to have a 5-second count here against the Cougars. Another turnover, unforced error. And this will come down. We're in the early going with 12 points on the board. This is a good pace. You're looking at a 60-point pace tonight. Gonna have a travel call. That was Smith, who's now in the contest, one of the substitutes for the Olympians on the floor. Well, Adan Baynes goes into a triangle of Olympians and gets the benefit of the official's call on that play, although he forced a lot of the contact himself.
Well, they say the good scorers get the calls. You know, they impress officials as well. And then taking a look at that stamina situation that we talked about for the Hawthorne Cougars, they are getting a lot of people in and out in this first quarter, so they want to have fresh bodies in there as the ball game winds down in the fourth quarter, but we still got 3:10 to go in the first, very early.
One of the things about tonight's officials, as I watch them manage this contest, they're being real strict on the 5-second call. Now you got a pushing foul against the Olympians. And another thing they're doing, and these guys coach, I mean not coach, but referee, veteran referees, they know that this is a rivalry. And if they didn't know it, they could certainly tell by the crowd here. And what they're doing basically is trying to keep this game under control early. Leuzinger with the layup off the turnover. Scored a basket for Connor. Hawthorne now having some problems getting the ball up. However, they break the press and they score now to tie it up again at 14 with
Thomas
2:25.
Brown. Tom Brown with a bucket. He's a freshman. A lot of legs in there in this first quarter for Hawthorne.
Basket from the perimeter put up and in by number 32 for the Olympians. That's Shepard. Excellent touch pass there by the Cougars. They still can't get it to go. So the Cougars getting a lot of looks at it, but no baskets, and now you're going to have a foul call on Connor of the Olympians. Foul starting to add up just a bit here, David.
Well, good ball movement. They moved it around quite a bit. The sort of no-look touch pass there. And in the end result, they're able to keep the ball alive, and free throws will be taken at the 1:59 mark of the first quarter. And I believe when all is said and done, it'll be Sam O'Bailey on the line as he misses the first.
And O'Bailey misses the first free throw. And Hawthorne's missed a couple of opportunities here. And they miss a pair, but they get the offensive rebound, lose control of it. Now Leuzinger has a fast break going. Puts it up and in for number 32, Carlos Rodriguez. Play broken up there by Connor. Hawthorne right now trailing by 5. Their largest deficit was 6 at 9-3. That shot from the outside, no good. They claim the rebound, push it back out, need to set it back up again. They look inside. That's why we say they need to set it up. Here's a Leuzinger fast break. And number 21 for the Cougars breaks it up, but he draws a foul on the play.
And Thomas Brown getting in there for the foul on the attempt by Jonathan Smith. Jonathan Smith will be on the free throw line. He's just a freshman.
And at 1:24, we have our first time out of the first quarter on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22 with the visiting Leuzinger Olympians leading by a score of 19-14. How do you size it up so far, Dave?
Defense makes good offense. There's a team that used to play in Inglewood that now plays in downtown LA that is in the midst of one of their better winning streaks in many years. And the reason why they're in that winning streak is because of the fact that they play defense. When both of these teams have been at their best in this first quarter with 1:24 to go in, and it's been as a result of defense. As we see that last foul right there. Foul committed by Thomas Brown. And it sent Smith to the line where he's completing his free throws.
And actually a pretty good clean foul, all things considered. Smith makes the first free throw. Leuzinger having a little more success here at the free throw line than the Hawthorne Cougars in the early going. So Smith makes a pair. And now Hawthorne is staring at their largest deficit of the game, 21-14 here with a minute 20 left in the first half. That shot from the inside up and no good. The story of this first quarter so far has been Hawthorne's inside opportunities and their failure to take advantage of most of them. Second and third shots have really helped them out, though, and now we're going to have a carrying call go against the Olympians. And of course, one of the first things they're going to say, well, if that's carrying against us, when is it carrying against Baynes, who has a very similar dribble?
Well, it's a holding foul right there by Smith with 1:03 to go. And as you mentioned, the one thing that hasn't been a plus so far in this first quarter for Hawthorne has been their second shots. Thomas Brown with quite a few good attempts there to keep things alive. And Adan Baynes on the free throw line here to shoot. Senior point guard.
Baynes at the line with an opportunity to cut this 5-point deficit to 3. Makes the first.
And right here for Hawthorne going out of the ball game is, as they take him out, Thomas Brown has played well, and Terrence Ford back in.
So Baynes makes a pair. Closes the gap to 21-18. And once again, Leuzinger gets an inside shot. Makes it a 23-18 game with under a minute left here. Hawthorne loses the ball, gives up the fast break. And just like that, we've got a 25. Score should go the other way. Should be 25-18 by my count.
Having a few problems with that scoreboard here in the
building. They make it 23-20. And now we've got a real problem because the scoreboard is definitely incorrect. In my estimation, unless I lost a basket somewhere, it's showing it as a tie ball game. Of course, that didn't last long as we've got 15 seconds left. Leuzinger now leads by a score, 25-23, as the action here in the first quarter is getting to be fast and furious. Adan Baynes obviously looking to take the last shot. Will he get it away? And he does. He's going to get a foul called on the play with going to the line to shoot three as time expires here in the first quarter. Okay, we show it as 27-20. We've got all sorts of things, guys. That's not our fault for the way the score is. Let's see what the scoreboard shows.
They've now moved it to 28-21, but I tell you, as Baynes goes to the free throw line, Coach Travis Showalter was livid. He thought that he carried the ball right there, but he did not get the carry call, so he gets to go to the free throw line.
Misses a second. He'll step to the line to shoot the final shot. It was a three-point attempt there as the clock expired to end the first quarter. So Baynes makes 2 out of 3. Makes the score now correct, we believe, to be 28 for Leuzinger, 23 for the Cougars.
Well, I think the truck had it right, had it about where they were close to right anyway. They had it a 7-point margin, and that's important. Had a couple of bugs with that scoreboard the past 2 weeks that we've done ball games here. But other than that, everything else has been good. It's been a first quarter where the defense is dictated. And that's been one of the main keys. You play the good defense, you're going to get your opportunities, and that's what's happening.
So we start second quarter action with the Olympians leading by 5 at 28-23. Olympians working the perimeter. Adan Baynes gets her hands in there, but the Olympians maintain possession. And now they're going to say they stepped on the baseline. That was number 5 for the Olympians, Connor. One of the officials, Kevin Coleman, with the call. Baynes puts on a bit of a dribbling exhibition. Puts it up and in.
Well, I guess the old boxing one didn't work that time.
And turnover on the part of the Olympians as Reed attempted to hit Ortega with the pass.
Well, looks like they're going to go to the old boxing one, and Baynes will try to break it by himself. Not this time.
Leuzinger down by 2 at a score 28-26. Ortega from the perimeter puts a shot up. He's fouled on the play. I think he was inside the line. Should be shooting 2.
Well, I believe they are going to give him the three free throws. They will say he was outside the line, and we've had a number of those tonight at the 7:04 mark. And Oscar Ortega at point guard. Leuzinger basically a small team, and they're kind of quick. And conversely, Hawthorne relatively big, and we do say relatively bigger. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit.
Well, they gave him 3. I thought he was inside the line, but so far he's missed a pair, so it's been of little damage.
And right now he's shacking his free throws. Well, he gets one out of 3.
My basic math skills, which is as far as I got, tells me that's a third. But it extends the lead to 3 now at 29-26. We've got 6:55 left here in the first half. That shot put up on the outside by McNeil, no good. Leuzinger looking to run. Foster with a no-look pass under to Connor. And we're going to have a foul called on the play. Let's see. From our vantage point, hard to see, but looks like he called it on McNeil. That's the referee, Enrique Arroyo, with the call.
So back to the free throw line goes Brandon Connor.
Can't hear you, Dave. You got to talk a little bit louder for me.
Well, I was saying Brandon Connor back on the free throw line. He, of course, the big guard. 6'2".
And he makes 1 out of 2. Although Leuzinger has been pretty good at the free throw line tonight, and that certainly has contributed to their 4-point lead here. Baynes with the dribble. Baynes with the spin pass. And put up and in by number 11, Nathan Patrick. Good close contest. The fans are really enjoying this one, I tell you. That shot from the outside, no good. Adan Baynes, give it up, babe. Here it is. Shot put up and in by Rodney Williams. So all of a sudden we've got a tie contest again. Every time Leuzinger pulls away, the Cougars jump right back in it.
And they're in the 1-2-2 zone is Hawthorne. And they
There's
get
a
a
steal by the Cougars, stolen back by the Olympians. There's a behind-the-back pass by Ortega. That shot put up no good. And now we're going to have an over-the-back call. And looks like that one's going to go against Foster. Against Foster. And if that's against Foster, we know that that's 2, if not 3. And that might complicate things just a bit for Coach Travis Showalter. We'll be able to tell by who comes off the floor who the foul's on.
Well, we have seen some good guard play. Terrence Ford will be shooting the free throws. Oscar Ortega for Hawthorne, and of course Adan Baynes for the Leuzinger Olympians. That last play by Adan Baynes, a little no-look spin, getting the assist leading to the bucket.
Free throw no good. Free throw has been certainly the Achilles heel. Free throw shooting, I should say, has been the Achilles heel for the Cougars here in the first half. That shot put up and in from the perimeter by number 25, Dixon. And they give him a 3 on it. McNeil passing it out. Good perimeter passing. That shot up, no good. Let's see, it's going to be Cougar basketball as it goes. Went off an Olympian inside, and that was Reed that they say it went off of.
Yeah, Rodney Williams had a look that time, but not able to can it from the left side.
Let's see if the Cougars look to exploit the interior defense now of the Olympians since Chaz Foster is on the bench. Baynes shot from the outside, no good. Rebound taken down by Ortega. Ortega showing some fancy ball handling skills of his own.
Cedric Poe in the ball game, number 33.
And Ortega with the football pass throws it out of bounds.
Well, this place is so packed as I take a look over at the entrance. I think they're actually turning people away. It's becoming a fire. It's warm. It's a fire hazard in here tonight. This is a packed Cougars den.
And we've got a timeout taken on the floor. With our score, exactly 5 minutes left here in the first half, guys. Our score is the Leuzinger Olympians leading by a score of 33-30 here at the Cougar Den.
Yeah, it's been a den, all right. And some good defense and some good guard play by both teams.
Adan Baynes now back with the handle. He goes around the right side. Soft inside pass. They're going to get a foul call. Looks like they may call this foul on Poe of the Olympians.
You know, Cedric Allen Poe committing the foul. And this puts O'Bailey on the free throw line. Sam O'Bailey, a good rebounder.
Cedric Allen Poe, you say. I take his parents were fans of literary.
I don't know if Allen was his
literature?
middle name. I just made that up.
Excuse me.
I mean, if Chris Merman can get away with it, so can I.
And so can you. Hey, you had me fooled. What can I say? I mean, I was.
We got Jonathan Smith handling the ball here. And Zone making him throw it cross court.
And you're gonna have a carrying foul. Now we got a technical called on Coach Travis Showalter. Said something right in the ear of the official Arroyo, and Arroyo didn't hesitate to give him the call. And he hadn't really worked him very much. I mean, he's been up on the sideline directing most of his attention at his players, but whatever he said to Arroyo took exception to.
Well, it's no surprise that the call is the technical foul and the complaint comes after the palming or carry call, because as you flash back to the end of the first quarter, he was looking for that to be called against Adan Baynes, but instead Baynes got the credit of saying a personal foul was committed against him, and he went to the free throw line with no time on the clock at the end of the first quarter. So I guess he kind of feels you got to call that palming both ways.
Foster comes back on the floor for the Olympians. Rodney Williams, number 25 from downtown. No hesitation on the part of the Cougars. Good inside follow there for the Cougars by number 34, Samuel O'Bailey. And the Cougars take one of their few leads of the game at 35-33. Counting down the 4 minutes left here in the first half. That shot up, no good, barely draws iron. Baynes with it, Baynes passes ahead. His man is trapped underneath, and they're gonna call a charging. And that's a fairly good call for the official to have made there. That was Carnell Cannon got trapped on the baseline and tried to bull his way out. The official, Kevin Coleman, having none of it, calls the charge.
A couple of ticks under 4 minutes to go in this first half. 35-33 in favor of the Hawthorne Cougars.
Smith with the handle now, gives it off to Connor on the left side. Smith and Connor playing a two-man game. Smith number 10, Connor number 5. Connor with the shot, no good. Rebound taken down by 25. Shot blocked in there by Rodney Williams. Gonna get a jump ball call. That was Dixon, whose shot was blocked. Possession error favors the Cougars. So the Cougars coming into tonight's contest with a losing record, but not playing like a losing team. Baynes shot no good. It's gonna go out of bounds. It'll be Olympian basketball. They lead by a score 35-33. We've got 3:25 clock running here in the first half. Scoreboard, shot clock of not much consequence, Dave.
Not in this ball game. Little interior pass knocked out of bounds. It's Travis Showalter has gone with the freshman Jonathan Smith quite a bit in the second quarter.
And it's Olympian basketball. They get it in on the baseline. Shot put up and is blocked. 15 seconds left on the shot clock. Gonna have a reach-in foul call there on Carnell Cannon. That's gonna send Connor back to the line to shoot 2.
So that block made there, a good block made. But the second attempt no good. And as a result, we get the free throws. Game slowed down somewhat. Of course, it was getting very intense first part of this quarter.
Yeah, the pace certainly slowed a bit. We had 28 28-23 score. Now we've got a basket by the Cougars to reclaim the lead at 37-35. That shot put up, no good. Team's looking for the outside shot. Now they work it inside. Basket put up and in by number 34 for the Olympians. That's Adan. Baynes shot from three-point range, up and in. Saw Smith doing a little hot dogging, and you can tell, I tell you, Baynes takes it as a challenge when an opponent tries to show him up on his ball handling skills. Hawthorne comes away with it. They give it off to Baynes. Baynes drives the sideline, pulls it back out, working the sideline now. Looking for some running room, puts a shot up, no good. Ill-advised to say the least, no one under the basket. Whoa, we got a carry there. Even the crowd saw that.
Baynes shot that last ball with a big hand in his face, too. But he's not gun shy, and you could tell in looking at the isolation that kind of wanted to reverse his feel and get that shot off. You mentioned that he rises to the occasion when he feels that someone is putting the heat on him or trying to show up his dribbling skills.
This time he'll bring it up, takes it in the backcourt, crosses the 10-second line now. No look pass by Baynes, and his teammate blows the shot. Those are the kind of shots you got to make. A guy gives you a beautiful pass, help him out. Leuzinger comes back to score the basket. Excellent no-look pass by Baynes goes for naught. However, Hawthorne still maintains a 1-point lead at 40-39, 90 seconds left. Baynes from downtown, no good. Rebound taken down by the Olympians. No opportunity to run as the Cougars get back on defense, so they'll set it up. Ortega has difficulty handling. And now they're gonna say Ortega traveled with the ball, and quite frankly, one of the Hawthorne fans was in his way, to say the least.
Well, what are you gonna do when you're playing a small building?
Well, it's a crowd management issue that you certainly don't want to see affect the outcome of the game.
This is true.
Baynes shot no good. They come down with the offensive rebound. They don't convert, and now you're going to have an over the back on, looks like they're going to call this on number 12 for Hawthorne, and of course we know that that's Jermaine Humes.
And as they walk up to the other end of the court, get ready to shoot the free throws. So 61 seconds to go in this half.
Both teams in a double bonus, so every foul will result in free throws from here to the conclusion of the first half.
And this is
at the line, shooting two, is Chaz Foster. Foster, of course, sporting his own look with the Payne Stewart style, if you will, with the knee-high socks. And Foster makes two. And I tell you, you can tell teams that practice free throws. That shot up, no good. Foster comes down with the rebound. They're looking to run. That's Smith. Goes to the basket. Smith puts it up. They're going to call a charge. They wave off the basket. Taking the charge for the Cougars was Thomas Brown.
And he did take that charge. Got hit rather hard on that play, but he had his position and a good call by the officials.
We got 43 seconds left in the first half. Clock hasn't moved yet. First thing I noticed as well, official caught it at about the same time. I think he's going to tell you, looked like he's telling them to wind 4 seconds down.
And Rufus, you said a second ago about you can tell when a team has practiced their free throws. Well, I mean, since you are a coach Monday through Friday or in the spare time, I mean, how can you tell from the coach's perspective?
Well, you can tell when they make them. You know, shot in the lane, put up, no good. And we're going to have a foul called on the big man. They're going to call that foul on Marcus McNeil, let's see, is that? No, that's Carlos Rodriguez. If I called him McNeil earlier, that was my fault. He, in fact, is number 32, Carlos Rodriguez.
And he plays swing position, forward center, and is a senior. So Foster back to the free throw line with 24 seconds to go in this first half. And
it's a free throw. Leuzinger, which has led most of the half, now finds himself in the lead again with 24 seconds left. But Hawthorne has been very competitive here in the first half and have had leads of their own, quite frankly. And but for a couple of misses inside, they well could be leading and have an opportunity here to go in with a tie on a three-pointer, perhaps. Woo. Foul out top should have been called. No call. Baynes with the ball handle. We got 8 seconds left. Baynes cuts to the inside, and he draws the foul call with 6 seconds left. So that'll send Adan Baynes to the free throw line, and he's shown himself to be the best free throw shooter on this Cougar basketball team.
Well, he probably gets a lot of practice. Of course, when he gets to that free throw line a lot, ability to penetrate the way he does. He breaks it down here with 6 seconds to go, giving his team a chance to get a little closer.
Makes a pair to draw his team within one with 6 seconds left. Got to play good defense here. Don't want to give up an easy score or foul. And they dodge a bullet as number 4, Reed, goes inside. And at the half, our score, 43 for the Leuzinger Olympians, the visitors. The Hawthorne Cougars, though, making one heck of a game out of it as they trail by only 1 at 42 on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. That shows 45-42. Our actual score is 43-42. I want you to enjoy the halftime show, and we'll be back at the top of the second half, folks, right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. Let's go over and get some scoring stats. All right, fans, we're back for the second half. Exciting first half there. So Leuzinger go into the locker room at halftime with a 43-42 lead, and they have the opening possession here in the second half. First shot from the outside, put up, no good, and inside foul called against the Olympians. We'll give Hawthorne the basketball.
So the over-the-top very quickly into it. And what was most effective for Hawthorne in the first half was the 1-2-2 zone and the overall defensive pressure. Well, they're going to apply full court pressure here. Or actually, Leuzinger is going to apply full court pressure right here, and that was also effective for them in the first half, we might add.
Had a good conversation with Coach Norman, and they're going to call carrying, and that's what I called early on. I say some officials are going to make that call, Dave. I mean, his dribble is comfortable to him, but from the NBA level down, officials are really starting to take stock of the way guys handle the ball.
Yeah, might as well break them in good habits while they're young.
That wouldn't be one of us guys, would it?
The turnover
there goes back to the Olympians. Drive along the baseline, score the basket. That was Connor off the feed from Smith.
And the freshman Smith making things happen here. Played quite a bit in that first half, and he will get the assist on the bucket as Connor tries to complete the three-point play. Brandon Connor.
Free throw up and no good. Our score at 45-42. Now we're going to have a foul call. It's going to be called inside. And they called it against number 34. This is the indication from the official, Samuel O'Bailey, with the foul.
So this third quarter starting out to be the similar pace that we saw in the second quarter. The first quarter was rather frantic. A lot of back and forth, and teams kind of settling in toward their pattern in that second quarter.
Leuzinger continues to show the good free throw shooting skills as Foster converts a pair. That extends the lead now to 5 points at 47-42. Again, they get inside, they blow the layup and the inside follow. Whoa! And tough foul there. I'm not so sure that foul call should not have gone against Connor, because to me, and Adan Baynes gives him a half laugh, but quite frankly, in my opinion, and it's my opinion only, the effort to draw the contact by Connor was excessive and quite frankly warranted a technical, although none was called. Perhaps we'll have a replay opportunity somewhere down the line to see that. Just the kind of play that increases the hostilities in the contest, but the crowd accepts it fairly well-mannered. Let's see if there's any payback to be had. Baynes with the ball, dribbles around the top. Looks for the comeback. Ball over to Rodriguez, he gets it over to Williams. Williams from three-point land, and it's good.
Well, that's his first long bomb of the night, and they're going to need a little of that if they're going to find another option besides Adan Baynes or besides banging the boards to the second shot attempts.
And you're going to have a jump ball called, possession arrow. Favors the Cougars. It'll be their basketball.
There's that full court trap again.
Ball knocked out of bounds by Connor on the play. Cougars maintain possession. Baynes shot up and in, makes it a one-point ball game again, exactly where we were at the half, 49-48, 6 minutes left here in the third quarter. Another foul call. This one's going to be on the inside play. Let's see who it goes against.
Looks like they may have gotten O'Bailey there on the foul, but good interior pass to find Chaz Foster in the right post. So Foster will be going to the free throw line as the clock stops at 5:55 to go. And as Rufus mentioned, a one-point lead. You know, when you see Adan Baynes take that shot, pointed out that at the half, he was just talking to the crowd. He was just ready to go. Very quick halftime for him.
We got a timeout on the court with a one-point ball game here at the 5:55 mark. And you're right. Hey, I'll take your word for it. Guy certainly shows himself to be ready.
And I saw last week his dad was over by the Channel 22 truck, wanted a tape of these telecasts, something that they can have and, you know, just kind of look at things, because sure, someone like him does study the tapes, wants to see what he does, kind of chart his progress. Right at half court, right now, out of your screen, he and Brandon Connor having a little friendly discussion. And it was a friendly discussion, I might add.
And indeed it was. And as we've said on many occasions, both in football as well as in basketball, again, these are all guys who know each other. They play together during the summer, and oftentimes find themselves on the same team when they aren't here playing for their respective schools. Couple of loose balls there go against Hawthorne, and that allows Leuzinger to extend their lead back to 6. Rare shot from the outside from Rodriguez is no good. Hawthorne back on defense. They got numbers cut to the inside. No, and the foul's going to go against the Olympians.
Got to be impressed with the way Leuzinger has passed in this second half. They've done a pretty good job of it, ball movement.
And one of the things that Coach Norman was telling me at the half, Coach Norman, of course, running the JV program, invited me to come over, pick up a couple of pointers from him, coaching this JV team. Going to have a travel call there against Baynes. And I intend to take him up on that offer, Coach Norman being a fine coach here at the Leuzinger program.
What do you do when your son goes, Dad, put me in the game, put me in the game. I want to play, Dad.
Exactly. Well, my son does happen to be a starter, but that wouldn't be because I'm his dad. But what he mentioned was that Leuzinger lost both of their big men, one to attitude problems and another one left the state. They were 6'7" and 6'6" respectively. And if they had had that kind of height to go with Chaz Foster's, they get second and third opportunities here. Ortega finally comes out with it. His shot up, no good. Hawthorne comes down with the rebound at last. Terrence Ford brings it down. That shot from the outside, no good. And you're going to have an out-of-bounds call as the rebounder, and that was Foster with the rebound, fell down on the out-of-bound lines.
So Rufus right on the mark, getting that little scoop there for us.
I also asked him, since he's seen a lot of these guys, going to have a foul call on the inside. That'll give me a second to develop this thought. Also asked him about what he thought Adan Baynes' chances were at the next level. And as any skillful coach would, first of all, he says he's an Iverson-type player, which is obvious in terms of his propensity for shooting. And he thinks he has to be in the right system. If the kid doesn't get in the right system, it may not go as well for him at the next level. And hopefully, as he's looking at schools, he'll find a school that fits his style of basketball.
Well, they're going to try to trap here with a defense, but it does not work to ultimate advantage. But right now, the ball
struggling to get a handle on it, and they finally do. They get it up to Baynes. Baynes goes inside, blows the layup. They tip, good tip drills there, keep the ball alive, and you're going to have a foul called against number 34 of the Olympian. And that, of course, is Aladem.
Hannibal Aladem. He, of course, at 6'5", I guess the tallest player on that Olympian team at the moment.
Cougars still having the problem. Now you got an uncontested layup here for number 10, and he scores it. That, of course, is Smith. Cougars having a problem scoring on the inside. Game starting to get away from him a little bit here in the third quarter.
A lot of them blocking that shot. And it's going to go to the Leuzinger Olympians of Rosecrans.
A score, 56-49. Substitutes coming on the floor as Foster comes on, and number 34 goes off. That's all of them. So Foster gets a bit of a breather there. We got 3:40 left in the third quarter. Hawthorne needing to play the good defense now. Their crowd being taken out of it just a bit. Good block there. Here's the fast break opportunity. And we're going to have the steal. No call there. Good defense shown by the Cougars. And they throw it away. It's okay to have a fast-paced game, but it has to be within the context of not turning the ball over.
Well, Terrence Ford there bringing them back into the game. When you do this, that'll get the crowd back in. But the bad outlet pass, they throw it away. But they'll take the block. The block at least gets them fired up somewhat.
Going to get a hold call on the baseline as Connor takes to the baseline.
And at the 3:09 mark of the third quarter, ball will come in off the inbounds. Couple of other games tonight in the Ocean League. Beverly Hills at West Torrance, Culver City at El Segundo, and Mira Costa is at Torrance. That's what's happening tonight in the Ocean League. And right here you are watching the Rosecrans El Segundo Avenue rivalry.
With our score at 56-49. Possession still belongs to the Cougars. Referee tells them to reset the clock to 35. Steal there by Baynes. Baynes will now walk it across the 10-point line, and the Cougars decide to take a timeout on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22, trailing at the 2:54 mark by a score of 56-49.
And I think all in all, a good timeout from their perspective, because it's a possession, and even though it's as the clock is now just gone over to the fourth quarter, but it should be about 2:50 or something to go left in this third quarter. Every possession kind of counts, and you want to decide, what are you going to do here? I mean, they have not been able to cut into the lead significantly, even though they played some good defense. So you kind of want to settle it down, decide, what are you going to do? Are you going to rush it, or are you going to take a little time? And that's kind of what they're probably discussing at this point. Well, this crowd becoming somewhat electrified right now in this third quarter. The game fairly close. It's been well played in the third quarter. And again, what we'll be looking at as we start to go into the fourth quarter will be what Joe House told us before the ball game about the stamina of the Hawthorne Cougars. Will they have the legs to play defense for all four quarters?
And the Leuzinger cheerleaders giving the Hawthorne cheerleaders the business, and the Hawthorne crowd asking their cheerleaders to respond in kind. They get the clock situation straight.
Well, they didn't draw that up in the huddle.
No, they didn't, and that takes the Hawthorne crowd right out of it as the basket extends the lead now to, well, they don't put it on the board, you know. Okay, now they do, 58. Okay. Folks, we're at the mercy of the scorekeepers and the clock management team here. And so when we have difficulty giving you the correct score, it's because there's difficulty with them putting the score up on the board. We finally get it, and it's 58-52 at the 2:15 mark of the third quarter in favor of the visiting Leuzinger Olympians.
Now this jump ball situation here, the arrow stays with the Olympians of Leuzinger.
Hawthorne needing to make a couple of defensive stops. You're going to get a hold call here. This call is going to go against Rodney Williams. Leuzinger out of bounds, not yet in the bonus. That's a 16 foul against the Cougars. Double dribble, travel, either one, turnover.
Illegal procedure, whatever.
If you're Hawthorne, this is the time for an Adan Baynes three-pointer right now. Things been a bit lethargic for the Cougars last couple of minutes.
Well, if you're Hawthorne, it's time to think on the offense.
Rodney Williams from the outside draws a lot of iron, but no basket. Foster comes away with the rebound, gives it off, gets it back, goes to the basket, doesn't make it. Williams with the rebound. Williams looking for an outlet. Gets it over to Terrence Ford. Ford in the corner to number 50. His shot up, no good. Again, inside game, or the lack of, in terms of being able to convert the follow shots, hurting the Cougar effort right now. Rebound taken down by the Cougars. Baynes gives off the pass to Rodney Williams. His shot up, and it's short. So right now, it's just a run and shoot.
Well,
except that the Cougars aren't getting anything out of the run and shoot offense. Basket put on the follow, put up and in by Foster. Under a minute left here, 58-52, David.
And for the most part, the Leuzinger Olympians in the half-court offense, they're moving the ball around, not taking the first shot. They're waiting until they get what works to their advantage, and that is the reason why they maintain the lead.
Travel called against the Cougars. They called it on number 5, Terrence Ford. Ford said, I had my pivot foot set. What's the problem? We got 47 seconds left.
I mean, as you look at the Leuzinger Olympians, certainly if they have numbers, they are not afraid to take it to the hole, but you've got to be impressed with the way they pass and their guard play, and we've got a timeout as their coach, Travis Showalter, Two sides to talk things over at the 47 mark of this third quarter, with our score 60 to 52. And as you talk about Travis Showalter, for those of you who followed Leuzinger basketball on Channel 22 through the years, this is his first year with the Olympians, but he is not new to the Southland. He is from here in the Southland. He went to El Segundo High School. He graduated there back in 1991, played for Rick Sabaski over at El Segundo. He went on to Cal Lutheran. That's where he attended college, played for 4 years. He coached at Cal Lutheran and coached at West Hills Junior College before his old coach at El Segundo, Rick Sabaski, told him that he should come on down here back to the Southland and he would have a chance to coach. And of course, he is a first-year coach for these Leuzinger Olympians. And they're having a pretty good job in his first year. They're 3-1 in the conference, Leuzinger. Their only loss to West Torrance, and they are 10-5 overall. And leading here tonight in the battle between Rosecrans and El Segundo. Avenues, that is.
More affectionately known as Hawthorne and Leuzinger. Shot on the inside, no good. Cougars come down with the rebound, 24 seconds left. Shot clock inconsequential at this stage. Baynes on the dribble. Baynes dribbling out front against Smith. 9 on the clock. And look to Baynes, down to 5 seconds. That shot put up, no good. 2 seconds left in the third quarter. That shot from distance put up, and it's no good. So after 3, our score 60 to 52 in favor of the Leuzinger Olympians. They extend the 1-point lead. They pick up another 7 in the third, Dave. And right when we thought Hawthorne were going to make their run, they had a stretch there late in the third, which started to get away from them a little bit, and they weren't able to regroup.
Well, the Leuzinger Olympians wouldn't allow it because basically they played patient offense in the half-court sets. They were able to get the shots that they wanted. They got to the free throw line and didn't turn the ball over that many times. Hawthorne, on the other hand, putting it up quickly. I mean, they did play good defense in certain spurts, but they're going to have to play a very smart 8 offensive minutes of basketball if they want to pull this out, not to mention the fact that they're going to have to work on the defense. And we will see as they try to get their first win in the conference. They're 0-4. If they're going to get their first win tonight, they're going to have to keep the defensive stamina. So we'll see how Joe House will play that.
It's Tremel Mason, number 50, inbounding it. He gets it to Baynes. And they're going to call carrying on Baynes. And this is starting to take Baynes out of his game. Again, it's his dribble style. And you either need to, and I got to say in his defense, if the CIF officials are going to call that, you got to be consistent from game to game. And the young man should have been told that at the beginning of the season. Because last week the call was never made. Reach-in foul call there against the Olympians. I think this is going to go against number 34.
Yeah, that will kind of tend to confuse you if you're not sure exactly how they're going to call it. And you don't want to go to a game-by-game situation, not wind up being gun-shy. Wonder, what do I have to do to not get a call?
And the foul call was on a Bailey. Free throw is up and in by Connor, Brandon Connor. Connor, of course, the starter on last year's team as well. That team, of course, featured several players, most prominently, I should say, Ron Paradin, who has moved on. My understanding at Yale, and now we've got the official stopping the clock. Let's see.
And the old problem with the 35-second clock, not moving quick enough. And they'll make the adjustments. In this all-important fourth quarter, there's a 10-point lead for the Leuzinger Olympians. Speaking of the Leuzinger Olympians, saw Terry Infantino before the ball game. Terry Infantino, the Olympians football star. Well, he hasn't decided what college he's going to attend yet, but he feels that he'll be playing defensive back when he gets to college. He made All-State defensive back this year in the CIF.
Another turnover against the Cougars. Baynes back. Doesn't provide much defense as he's outnumbered. And now it's 64-52. And the game's starting to get away from not only the team, but the crowd as well. Now, one thing about Baynes is that he can get you back in it in a hurry.
Can't do it if you turn the ball over.
And now he's injured. They scored a basket.
And Baynes is holding his left knee. He made contact when the ball was taken away. And they're going to get somebody out there to take a look at him. He was run into.
Let's see if we can get our cameras in there for a closer shot. Baynes in obvious pain. We're going to take a look at the replay first, fans.
It's Brandon Connor making contact.
You see him go down. He grabs his knee there. I don't know whether they hit knee to knee. We can take one more look at that, guys. You don't see the contact.
And Brandon Connor came over to take a look at him as well, just to make sure everything was okay. And of course, the Hawthorne Cougars cannot afford to be without Adan Baynes for any stretch of time.
We'll look at the replay here one more time. We can slow it. We can try to see where the injury occurs. And that's what it looks like. Looks like a knee to the thigh, something to that effect. What you hope is that it's not a twist or a tear, but instead just a bruise on the knee. Baynes still down on the floor.
Well, when they know he's the main ball handler, the idea is to stop the dribble, so that's why you saw he was picked up by Brandon Nixon, who was guarding him, and two players were starting to converge on him, one of them being Brandon Connor, and he made the contact.
And of course, as my grandpa would say, Baynes, of course, a little bit light in the britches as it is. In fact, we saw this last year where he was injured in a game. And we'll try one more time to see if we can see exactly where this occurred. Not a pleasant sight. There you see him take the drive. It's the next contact.
And coming over
and
on
I
his left
think
side.
that's what, for everything that we can see, it would appear that that's where the contact occurs, and it's a knee-to-knee collision.
And I mean, just to add insult to injury, so to speak,
it's either that or when he falls back, his foot gets locked on the floor and the knee gives way.
as you look at that replay, you might also, as we say, adding insult to injury, wonder why there was not a foul called on Brandon Connor for that kind of contact. But Paul over the ball game at the moment, as everyone is concerned with the knee of Adan Baynes, the point guard for these Hawthorne Cougars. Trying to get into the win column for the first time tonight in the league. They overall have a record of 5 up and 12 down. Did not do too badly all in all in preseason, but have not had a good go of it here in the early part of their league schedule. And will be without Adan Baynes apparently.
Well, Baynes gets up, attempts to walk it off, looks none the worse for wear.
So apparently
although I would think that it would be the wiser course of action at this point would be to take him off the floor, but I guess they're saying, well, he took a nice 5-minute break right there, so may as well let him come back on the floor. And now the Hawthorne coach and staff rethinks its position and sends Baynes to the bench. So with that puts the ball handling chores on Thomas Brown now.
almost
Near
right in the
turnover.
right in the same area. It's knocked out of bounds. So different sort of situation now when you don't have someone with the explosive power of Adan Baynes. It can be a bad thing, but it can also be somewhat of a positive thing because now you know you've got to you're forced to work a little harder and look for other
Gotta
options.
go, son. Okay. You know, when you're inside like that, taking too much time to get the ball up. I mean, you got numbers. You get it, you put it up. Makes it a 12-point ball game against Hawthorne, needing to make a run right now, as you said, this quarter one of defense. We still got 6.5 minutes left, plenty of time. Our score is 66-54 in favor of the Olympians. Near steal on the play, and they're going to get a foul call against the Olympians.
Well, the 1-2-2 zone, 1-2-2 working that time. And it leads to the charging foul at the 6:21 mark of the fourth quarter. And there's a timeout taken on the court as the teams will talk over the situation with a score 66-54 in favor of the Leuzinger Olympians.
As the Olympians ask for the 20. Gives us a chance to tell you, of course, that this contest is brought to you courtesy of the fine folks at the Lawndale Cable Usage Corporation. Through their generosity of paying the necessary fees to the CIF for these telecasts, we're able to bring them to you in your home, and we hope you enjoy them.
And we do it for the benefit of those folks you just saw there on the screen. You know, as McNeil hit that last bucket for Hawthorne, saying he was about as open as Jimmy Orr was in Super Bowl III, and Rufus is over here on the sideline saying, give him the ball already. Going
There
back
you go.
right back to your coaching.
Well, sometimes you can't help it. I mean, you got to take the buckets. Well, there's one that's short. There's a steal, though. And the basket put up and in by Nathan Patrick. Cuts it to a 10-point game. One of the things that it does when... Whoa, that's a charge, baby. No call there. Hawthorne not getting on the board, giving away second and third opportunities. This time they come down with it. Some might say a good no call. Looked like a charge to me, though.
Let's see which way this one goes.
And that one goes against Leuzinger as well. You can see Baynes over on the far side taping up his knee. That would seem to indicate that he's preparing to get himself back in this contest. That shot up and no good. A lot of contact, referee letting them play. A little turning and rolling, and the official stops the action, and wisely so.
Hannibal Aladem being restrained. Principal of Leuzinger High School right there.
Right, and a good piece of officiating. All of them obviously starting to lose control of himself.
Well, of course, the principal very concerned about those sorts of things. You know, Rufus, nobody wants to wind up in his office, right? You remember back to those days, huh? I mean,
well, with the way things go now, you'd be happy to wind up in the principal's office because this thing could get away from you real quick, and you could, wind up in somebody's office much bigger than the principal.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to go there, boys and girls watching at home.
Free throw, no good. And Hawthorne, as we lose our signal here for a moment, guys, I'm not sure if someone stepped on it or whatever, but we've lost audio. Hey. Jose. Okay, I'm back. We're back. Our score still stands at 66-56. And while we had lost audio, Baynes is back on the floor. Oh, come on, you can't give it away. It's got to, and we're going to have a foul call, and it's a good foul call.
Well, Baynes was out for about 2.5 minutes, and without Baynes on the court, their offense was very patient. They were able to come away with 2 baskets, a couple of good offensive sets, and at the 4:40 mark, only down by 10, still have an opportunity, and they did play some good defense.
And
The
Baynes does
1-2-2.
the unselfish thing. He goes to the coaching staff. He went out on the floor, took a shot at it, decided he couldn't go, and now we see him leaving the arena. Not quite sure whether he's just going to get a breath of fresh air, but he went over to Coach Joe House and said, Coach, I can't go. We need to get a substitute in. So it looks like Hawthorne may have to make it the rest of the way without Baynes. 4:40 left. They trail by 10 at 66-56. That shot put up and in. One thing about it with Baynes Gomes, and this is no knock on it, it would be true even for Philadelphia if Iverson went out, which you saw. It changes the way the team plays. And it forces all 5 guys to be contributors.
Point well taken. You've got to find other options. And look what he does to the defense. The defense says, well, you know, I mean, he got hurt because 3 players converged on him, knowing we've got to stop him, got to stop the ball. It's like, now who do you stop? Who do you key on? They've had Thomas Brown, the freshman, bringing it up. He's played well, going behind the back there.
Of course, the key here is ball handling. Shot from the outside, up and in. That shot put up by Terrence Ford. And all of a sudden, you've got yourself a 5-point ball game, fans. A good offensive rebound here, and it's going to go to the Cougars with 4 minutes left. And let's make a note of that. At the 4-minute mark, the Cougars got within 5. And we got a timeout on the floor, as you might have expected. So the Cougars have come from 14 back to make it a 5-point ball game, Dave.
They're on a 9-0 run right now, and you see this happen quite a bit of times when a player as popular and as hot as someone like Adan Baynes gets hurt. The rest of the team can rise to the occasion, and that's what they've done so far. And it's been mainly because they've had to rally themselves together. You know they have the ability to play the defense. It was just a matter of could they keep the stamina into the 4th quarter. Well, they've done it so far at exactly the 4-minute mark on the defensive end. And they've been more patient, and they've gotten good looks at the basket. And they've cut into this. It was 66-52. Now they are only down by 1. Excuse me, not yet, down by 5.
Down by 5, chance to make it 3, if not a pair.
A little slower, but a little more efficient.
Shot from the outside, that's going to be long. They go for the, whoa! Two Cougars collide. Going to have a jump ball call, and the possession arrow favors Leuzinger.
Well, it's hard to believe that the Olympians have not scored a bucket in a couple of minutes since Adan Baynes. They scored. Last bucket that they scored off of the pickup when he went down, Brandon Connor. Up to that point, their half-court sets have been well, but what got them out to the lead was the open floor play after Hawthorne was missing a lot of their buckets. They were getting numbers.
Trap him on the sideline. Story being defense, and official Kevin Coleman takes his time, decides he wants to be emphatic about it, and indicates that it's Hawthorne basketball. 3:15 left, 5-point ball game, fans. Hawthorne on the short end of the 5 right now, but they were down by as much as 14, 66-61. Cougars looking inside, nothing doing. Shot may well come from the perimeter. There it is. It's going to be short.
But you got to like the way they worked it. That was a good offensive set. Can't complain, just the shot didn't go.
That basket put up and in. They called it a deuce. Makes it a 7-point ball game now with 2:40 left. Clock no longer an ally of the Cougars. They need points and they need them in a hurry, but they've also got to make some defensive stops here.
Brandon Dixon ending the 9-0 run. And they're able to run off the misses.
Whoa. Late whistle there by the official. He's going to call that foul on number 11. And, of course, number 11 for the Cougars is Nathan Patrick. Patrick had a big basket in that 9-0 run.
Well, we saw that last time off the miss. That they're able to get up court.
And the Cougars bring Rodney Williams in, along with Carnell Cannon And really the key here is going to be Rodney Williams. If they're going to make a strong run here right now, Williams is going to be in the center of that.
And as you look at these Leuzinger Olympians, and keep in mind the 3-1 record, their last ball game, though, they did lose. They lost to West Torrance, so they, of course, want to get off that one-game losing snide, get themselves back into the win column.
Lane violation there against the Olympians. Going to give the Cougars a basketball. They trail by 8 with 2:24 left. And they're going to call out of bounds against Brandon Connor as he went up the sideline. Hawthorne again catching a few breaks here at the end. You got to start converting, though. That's the bottom line. If you don't put the ball in the basket, you're not even going to have a chance. You get it inside. Again, a potential turnover, and now it is a full-blown turnover. Ortega keeps it alive. Basket up and in.
Hannibal Aladdin with the bucket, making it a 10-point bulge once more for the Leuzinger Olympians.
Foul's going to be called there on Brandon Connor.
So since they closed it to 5 at 66-61, they have yet to get any points.
In fact, they've given up 5 on the defensive end to make it a 10-point ball game now with 1:47 left in the contest. And with the threat of Baynes' three-point shot out of the game, this one is almost betted by.
Well, they still got a little time. They've got a stop right here and a chance to get some points at the free throw line. And then, of course, got to play the tough defense at the other end, the 1-2-2. As you look ahead for these two teams, next game for Leuzinger will be Tuesday night at home against Torrance. And the next game for the Hawthorne Cougars, they will go to Beverly Hills Tuesday night.
That shot put up and in by Rodney Williams makes it a 9-point game.
And for you folks out there, our next telecast will be next Friday night right here at Hawthorne when they will take on West Torrance.
Williams misses the second.
I think we're in the 1-1 situation, so they go into the line. Turning out to be a frustrating season for the Hawthorne Cougars in basketball. If they're not able to rally here at 144, they're looking at 0-5 in the league.
Well, not only basketball, football had a tough year this year as well. Missed the playoffs. But a lot of pride here at Hawthorne High School. A school that's been a perennial home to champions. As you look up on the wall here in the field house, this school, of course, known nationwide and certainly throughout California for its outstanding track program. .11-point ball game now, and you're going to have a carry call against Ortega.
Well, Thomas Brown has proven that he's a pretty good little point guard. Just a freshman.
Yeah, and they get the basket up and in on the follow by Terrence Ford. Still a 9-point ball game with 1:08 left, and you're right. I mean, there's time. First of all, you need three-point plays. You got to play good defense. You got to create some turnovers. You can't let them run the clock down on you. And that's where your turnover has to come. And if there's no turnover, you got to get the rebound. Under 50 seconds, 9-point game. Three put up and no good. quite frankly, no other alternative, though, for the Cougars. Williams with a good shot. And now number 32, Shepard, looking to run out the clock. Got a jump ball call, and it's going to be Hawthorne basketball with 35 seconds left. It's a matter of quick shots and turnovers. And quite frankly, probably a little too much to expect at this stage of the game. Deuces don't help. Basketball comes off. Ortega slows it down. Ortega understands that the clock is no longer a factor. Gets it across half court. Gonna have a foul call against number 33 of the Cougars. And of course, that's Carnell Cannon. So Dave, this one's one for the books, and it's gonna go the Olympian way.
Well, the Leuzinger Olympians, you would have to say what got them into the win column here tonight was the fact that for the most part, they played a very solid half-court offense. They were never totally out of control. It's not that they were that explosive, but a lot of their points came in the transition game off of some wild Hawthorne misses. Hawthorne gathered that momentum, as you saw, when Baynes went out of the ball game. They went on a 9-0 run, but were not able to fully sustain it. And losing Olympians kind of settled things back down, took it into their hands, and they're going to come away, Leuzinger will, with their 4th win in the conference and 11th overall.
And although it's an 11-point ball game now, certainly one of those situations where the final score not being indicative of the way the contest went, as it'll go down in the books as a 75-64 win for the Olympians here. They come across town to the Cougar Den, and they post a victory, sending the Hawthorne crowd home a bit disappointed. And obviously right now the Leuzinger faithful enjoying giving them the business. Of course, the main thing now is for everyone to make a safe and peaceful exit out of the building. But that gives us an opportunity once again to note, as you said, Leuzinger getting the measure of Hawthorne. Hawthorne, though, playing way above what their record would indicate and putting on a good show for their fans also.
Well, it's interesting that you say this, the old cliche about the score not indicative of how close the game is. I don't know if I would agree with that, but I would agree that the score was not indicative of how well fought it was. It was a hard-fought game, but it was basically not close. I mean, Hawthorne, only for that stretch when Adan Baynes went out, and they showed a semblance of the ability to play a solid half-court game. You figure if they're able to do that for 32 minutes or at least 28 minutes or something, it might be a different ball game, but Hawthorne not in sync right now. It was not the defense tonight. The defense did play well. That's something that head coach Joe House was concerned about, but it's the inability of the offense to find any fluidity behind Adan Baynes, and that again may be a problem as the season goes on. But of course, crosstown for the Leuzinger Olympians, they are basically a small team. You mentioned them losing the big players before the year started, and they are getting good guard play, very good half-court play, and they're going to need that as they head on into the conference play with their record of 4 wins and 1 loss. And of course, you know, Rufus, we will see them. We're going to be down at their gym at some point, and we're going to also see round 2 of this matchup coming up in February. So a lot of basketball still to go this season on Channel 22, I would say.
And Leuzinger obviously positioning themselves for a playoff run. The Olympians, of course, again, with their record at this stage, certainly can expect to be seen in the playoffs. Hawthorne, of course, has to use this season as a building season. At some point, you got to commit to the future and to younger players. Too early to throw the towel in, but if you're being realistic, you know that in terms of any postseason action, that pretty much is out the question, but it is a chance to develop younger players for next year.
And of course, as we talk about Adan Baynes and where he can wind up next season, of course, it's very crucial, his development. And you got to remember, it's all academics and things like that involved from the point of view of the Hawthorne Cougars. And for the Leuzinger Olympians, it's a matter of trying to stay in tune and stay in touch. And hopefully they will be able to advance possibly into the postseason.
Okay. Well, with that gives us an opportunity to say once again, thank you for joining us here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 22. It's been a pleasure bringing you tonight's contest. Dave will be hosting next week.
I will.
So, for Dave Marks, I'm Rufus Washington, and for the entire crew, headed by Tom Strickfaden, it's our pleasure to bring the contest to you, and we look forward to seeing you again next week, fans. Good night.